Have you ever wondered why most commercial aircraft always have two pilots in the cockpit? It's not just a matter of safety, it's also a matter of efficiency, especially when it comes to communicating with air traffic control. There are countless tasks that need to be performed simultaneously when flying an aircraft, monitoring the flight path, managing the systems, and most importantly, maintaining communication with ATC. This is where the two-pilot system shines. Typically, the pilot flying is responsible for controlling the aircraft, managing the throttle, speed and heading. This pilot is fully focused on ensuring a smooth and safe flight. Meanwhile, the pilot monitoring is tasked with handling radio communications with air traffic control. This role obviously is crucial. ATC provides real-time information on weather, air traffic and changes in flight plans, and by having a dedicated pilot for these communications, the workload is effectively divided. The division of labour ensures that both pilots can focus on their specific roles without becoming overwhelmed. The pilot monitoring can clearly listen, interpret and read back ATC instructions, while the pilot flying can focus entirely on the aircraft and its controls. In high traffic airspace or during challenging conditions, effective communication with ATC is vital. Miscommunication or delays can lead to unsafe situations, and with two pilots, the chance of misunderstanding or missing a critical ATC instruction is minimized. That's why Say Intentions are delighted to introduce our new first officer, who is there to handle the communication radios for you when you need them to, so you can get on with flying the aircraft. This video shows how to set it all up and showcases how it works in a real flight. So let's go through how to set up our new co-pilot feature. This is handled by the intercom part of the Say Intentions app. You'll have come across this before. We use it for cabin crew, mentors, tour guides, and we now use it for our new co-pilot. The big difference being we've added a second intercom channel. That means, for example, you could have the cabin crew on intercom channel 1 and talk to them independently, and our new co-pilot on channel 2 and talk to them independently. Entirely up to you what you do with those two intercom channels, but to use the new co-pilot feature, you'll need to assign a key command or a joystick button of your choosing to our new intercom 2 channel. So let's go through that now. We go to the settings part of the Say Intentions app. We go to the tabs at the bottom and click the controls tab. Here you'll see your joystick assignments you've already made, or your key command assignments, and you'll probably have one for intercom push to talk channel 1. That's how you'll have talked to cabin crew or to the mentors. You now need to add a second one, and if you bring the drop down box up, you'll see intercom push to talk channel 2. Simply assign a new key command or joystick button to that, and you'll now have an independent joystick button for channel 2. That's that part done. Simple. Now we move to the actual intercom itself, and you'll see at the top it has now changed. We have channel 1, which you will already have set up. In my case, it's with cabin crew, grade A. That's Erica. Love Erica. That doesn't everybody. And channel 2 is now new. So if we go to channel 2, we will now bring the drop-down box up and see there's all the cabin crew at the top. You'll have seen those before. But underneath, we now have the new co-pilot come up. We have quite a lot at the moment. They range from funny to professional, depends on the mood you're in at the time, and you can choose whatever you like. You can even try these out during a flight. You can change them as you're flying. You don't need to restart the app or anything like that. Just change the voice there and you'll hear the very different co-pilots that you can assign. We've got loads of them down there. Just have a play with them and decide which one of them you want to use. So for today's flight, we are going to use Brian. He's a very professional co-pilot, as you would imagine. So he's now set on channel 2. Let's just check that again. Channel 1, we have our cabin crew. Channel 2, we have co-pilot Brian, professional. That's it. Simple as that. Job done. So here we are in the cockpit of our PMDG 737-800 from Glasgow Airport in Scotland to Liverpool. Quite a short flight. This is by no means a how to fly the PMDG tutorial, so forgive me if I'm not paying a great deal of attention to the actual aircraft. This is all about our new co-pilot feature and how it works in the aircraft. Let's start by talking about what it can't do. The co-pilot's not meant to be flying the plane. It's the pilot monitoring role that he's doing, or she's doing. That means looking after the comms radios for us. So they can handle readbacks, they can do check-in to various frequencies, and they'll change the comms frequencies for us. They don't touch any of the controls of the plane, the exception being the transponder, which the co-pilot can set when they get an IFR clearance. Mainly the co-pilot's use is while in the air to do all those check into different control zones, talk to different controllers, change the comm radios, and do all the readbacks. It can work on the ground. As we'll show in a moment, we can get the IFR clearance on the ground from our co-pilot Brian, but it's really meant to take over the workload while the pilot flying is doing exactly that, flying the aircraft. It is a beta feature. It may not be 100% accurate, but as with everything in Say Intentions, things move fast on a daily basis, so persevere and we'll get it right pretty soon. It currently only works on the experimental server, so you'd go to your app and settings, experimental, and then obviously choose experimental as your server, restart the app, and you should be good to go. Another thing to mention, the co-pilot can only handle comms using COM Radio 1. So don't assume that he's going to work COM 2. It all works on COM Radio 1. Let's start by saying hello to Brian, and hopefully he'll be with us. Good afternoon, Brian. How are you?
Good afternoon, Captain. I'm ready to assist with the comms whenever you're ready to hand them over.
Great stuff. If we look at the Say Intentions app right now, at the top right of the screen here, we will see that Pilot is written there. That means that we are in control of the communications radio. That would change when we hand over to Brian. But let's start by trying to get Brian to do our IFR clearance for us. Brian, could you pick up our IFR clearance, please, to Liverpool?
Captain, I can handle the IFR clearance request. Glasgow ground, Midland 84 Victor. We'd like to obtain our IFR clearance. We have information November.
I'm working on that clearance. Stand by. Midland 84 Victor, Glasgow ground. Information November is current. Cleared to Liverpool via the Norv 1 hotel departure, then as filed. Departure runway 23, initial climb to 4000. Departure on 128.755, squawk 3237.
Glasgow ground, Midland 84 Victor. Cleared to Liverpool via Norby 1H departure, then as filed. Departing runway 23, climb to 4000 feet. Contact departure on 128.755. Squawk 3237.
Midland 84 Victor, readback correct.
And if we look at the transponder, we will see that Brian has put in that code of 3237. So that's one of the things that he will set, in addition to the actual comm radio itself.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Erica, your lead flight attendant, welcoming you aboard our flight to Liverpool. We are thrilled to have you with us today. Please remember to stow your carry-on items in the overhead compartments or completely under the seat in front of you. If you're seated in the exit row, kindly review the safety instructions in your seat pocket, as you may be required to assist in an emergency. If you have any questions or need assistance, don't hesitate to ask one of our friendly crew members. We appreciate your cooperation as we prepare for departure. Thank you.
You also heard Erica, our flight attendant there, adding to the immersion yet again in Say Intentions. Erica makes those announcements depending on the state of flight, or it doesn't have to be Erica. There's many cabin crew to choose from the absolutely hilarious to the very efficient, of which Erica is one. You can even talk to those cabin crew in the same way that you can talk to our first officers. For example, if I use the Intercom 1, which you'll remember we set to cabin crew. Good morning, Erica. I know you're very busy, but can you bring me a black coffee, please, when you have a moment?
Of course, Captain. I'll bring you a black coffee shortly.
Fantastic. Really adds to the immersion factor. Very much not on rails, because you can pretty much ask anything you like. It's half the fun of Say Intentions. Right, so we're getting ready to go now. As I mentioned, this is not how to fly the PMDG, so do forgive me if some things are not by the book, but let's get out to the holding point of the runway, and we can then hand over the comms radios to Brian. So we're nearly at the hold point for runway 23, and we should be given an automatic handoff by Say Intentions from ground to tower as we approach that hold.
Midland 84 Victor, contact tower on 118.805. Have a good afternoon.
118.805, Midland 84 Victor. So we're now at the hold of runway 23. We've changed frequency to the tower frequency. Let's get lined up, and then we can hand over communications radios to Brian. Particularly useful, of course, just immediately after takeoff when you get to your acceleration height and you've got stuff to do, flying the aeroplane. It's always good to have the co-pilot looking after that communications call for you. Midland 84 Victor, we're at the hold runway 23 and ready for departure.
Midland 84 Victor, Glasgow Tower, runway 23, winds 220 at 9er, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 23, Midland 84 Victor. So let's now use our intercom control that we've assigned to Brian and ask him to look after the communications. It's a simple matter of pressing the right button and making the request. Hello Brian, can you take care of the communications radio for us, please?
Sure, Captain. I'll handle the comms from here.
And there we go, simple as that. So now Brian is looking after the comms radios. Let's just pause here for a second. And if we now look, we will see that at the top right here has now changed to co-pilot. That means that the co-pilot is now doing all the comms radio changes for us. That's the way that you can tell who is in charge. Okay, back to the flight. Let's do our departure, and hopefully Brian will deal with any comms radio changes from this point on. So we go. Flight forward pressure. B1 coming up. B1 and rotate. 15 degrees of pitch up. Gear is coming up. Acceleration altitude.
Midland 84 Victor, contact departure on 128.755.
Switching to departure on 128.755. Midland 84 Victor.
And there you go. You'll see there that I did nothing at all. Brian made that call. He switched the comm radio over now.
Glasgow radar, Midland 84 Victor, afternoon. We're climbing past 1500.
Midland 84 Victor, Glasgow radar identified. Clear direct D225N. Climb flight level 200.
Cleared direct D225 November. Climb flight level 200, Midland 84 Victor.
Okay, flaps coming up. And we can concentrate on flying the aeroplane, which is wonderful.
Midland 84 Victor, contact Glasgow approach on 119.1.
Switching to Glasgow approach on 119.1, Midland 84 Victor. Glasgow approach, Midland 84 Victor, good afternoon. Climbing to 3500, aiming for flight level 200.
Midland 84 Victor, Glasgow approach identified.
And it's as simple as that. So the co-pilot is doing all the hard work talking to communications, and we are simply flying the aeroplane. And you'll keep doing that until you hand back control to yourself. That's how it works. It's as simple as that, folks. It's a brilliant aid to piloting an aircraft, a single pilot, obviously, where these aircraft, as we mentioned right at the beginning, are designed for a pilot flying and a pilot non-flying, or a pilot monitoring, whichever way you look at it. If you have any questions, of course, we have our Discord as always. You can pop onto there and ask any questions you like. Bear in mind, this is still in beta, as we mentioned, so there will be some slight oddities. For now, it's working great in the air, as you've seen, and there's still a lot more to come. So I hope you've enjoyed this.
Victor, Glasgow approach, climb and maintain flight level 240.
Climb and maintain flight level 240, Midland 84 Victor.
But climb and maintain flight level 240. Let's do something slightly out of the ordinary to finish. Let's ask for a slightly higher climb and see what happens. So let's ask Brian to see if we can get a climb to flight level 260. So we use the intercom button that we've assigned. Brian, can you ask ATC for flight level 260, please?
Requesting flight level 260 from ATC. Glasgow approach, Midland 84 Victor, requesting to climb to flight level 260.
Midland 84 Victor, climb flight level 260.
Climb flight level 260, Midland 84 Victor.
So you can see how useful that is. And when you want to take back control, it's as simple as using the intercom button and just asking Brian to give it back to you. Hello, Brian. Can you give me back control of the comms now? I'll look after it from here. Thank you.
Understood, Captain. Comms control handed back to you.
And there we go. Comms control back to us. So that's the basis of how you use the COPILOT feature. Hope it's made some sense. And as
Midland 84 Victor, climb and maintain flight level 280.
And that'll be for me to answer because we've now handed back comms. So that's a very good test there. You see, they've asked us now. Brian has given control back to us, so we need to make that answer. Flight level 280, Midland 84 Victor. So thanks for joining us, and welcome to the wonderful world of the COPILOT on Say Intentions. Speak again soon.